Live. We are presented by Wesley, Clark, and Peshkin, your divorce and estate planning attorney. Your family is our business. Maddie Glab alongside Bills legend Steve Tasker, and the Buffalo Bills fall to the Minnesota Vikings in overtime. 33-30 is your final score. The Bills are now 6-3 on the season, second straight loss for them. And you thought this game was all Buffalo Bills at the end. 50 seconds to go. The Bills defense has a huge stop on 4th and goal, turnover on downs. The Bills can just run out the clock, but no, it's a fumble. The Vikings score. We end up going into overtime, and the Bills defense again has a really big stop, and the Buffalo Bills cannot answer. Josh Allen throws an interception in the red zone. It would be game, a 3-point victory by the Minnesota Vikings. How do you make sense of this game that just seemed to go back and forth and really was a tale of two halves too for the Bills?
Yeah, it really was. 24-10 going in at halftime, and the Bills really had control of it, no question about it. In the second half, I think that the injuries started to show up. Greg Rousseau's absence started to show up. The secondary with Jordan Poyer out, with Micah Hyde out, going Cam Lewis in the game. I think they started to show some wear and tear in the secondary. And there were a couple of plays. Well, actually, there's two specific plays that were game winners that the Bills couldn't execute. Cam Lewis on the swipe away with the Justin Jefferson pass on the fourth down play.
That was a crazy catch.
Tremendous catch by Justin Jefferson, but Cam Lewis trying to catch it instead of just knocking it down. It was a win-the-game kind of play, and he couldn't do that. Then, of course, the Josh Allen fumble at the snap that gave the Vikings their go-ahead touchdown late in the game. And a little bit of that I could say you could put on Ken Dorsey, maybe the coaching staff as well, because if Josh Allen's in the shotgun in that situation,
yeah, he was under center.
You can throw the football away there from the end zone, take an incomplete pass, and you're still no worse off. And if Josh can roll out or get some movement, get out to the 3-yard line, then you can kneel down to end the game. They couldn't do it.
It was their game at that point.
It was their game. The game was won at that point, and they couldn't close it out. So a couple of plays specifically, the Bills had it on a game-over type situation. They couldn't execute either one. Coaching
staff, offense, defense, players-wise, coaches-wise, people are going to want plays back on this one, because there were you could add them up on one or two hands of the plays that just went wrong for the Bills in today's game. It was a really tough loss in overtime, but Josh Allen is on the podium right now answering some questions. We're going to go right to Josh.
Game, what are your thoughts?
Losing sucks. Sucks this way even worse. Horrendous second half. I gotta be better. We gotta be better.
Josh, what happened on the fumble with Mitch where you guys just
No, it's on me. Can't have that.
First red zone interception in the second half. What were you looking for on that play? And also the second half?
The first one's 4th down. No sense in taking a sack or throwing the ball away, giving somebody a chance. Those are going to happen. Second one, just bad ball, bad decision.
At what point this week did you feel confident you were going to be able to play today?
I just progressed throughout the week pretty steadily. Put a lot of hours into getting ready to play. Appreciate the guys in the training room for helping me get back out there. I don't know if I can give you a definite day, but I always felt like I could play.
Did that injury impact you at all today?
No.
3 straight second halves like this, how discouraging is that, and do you have an explanation?
No explanation as of now, just we got to execute better. That's on my shoulders. Again, 4 turnovers today, 3 were by me, and losing sucks. It's just what it is. You hate to lose, especially that way.
How do you turn this around, Josh? I know it's only one game at a time, but how do you guys get this thing right? The turnovers being a persistent problem the last few weeks.
Yeah, it comes down to my shoulders and my shoulders only, making the right decisions, making the right throws, putting our best foot forward in practice. This one's going to suck watching. Only ways forward. We gotta find a way to put this behind us and not let it affect our next one.
What were they doing on first down to kind of stymie your guys' run game? There were you guys had to face a lot of 2nd and 10s because you weren't getting much on first down in the run game.
I honestly couldn't tell you the answer to that right now. until we kind of go back and look at it. They had a good plan today.
Josh, I know you said it was a bad decision on the final interception. What did you think you saw?
I mean, kind of a double post-ish concept there. Harrison Smith took the over route, and I felt he was in a position where he could stop if I threw it over the top, so I just tried to drive it. And again, that's a savvy vet and Pat Pete. Can't make the throw.
Josh, you guys were up 17, and 9 times out of 10 that would call for a team to run the ball. What do you think it is? Is it more or less of the lack of execution or play design? What do you think is the?
Again, couldn't give you an honest answer there. I gotta do more in that aspect too. Maybe we'll get it right. I trust the guys in this locker room. Trust the staff that we got, and we'll get it right.
Josh, this is 3 straight games without touchdown in the second half. Do you sense something different in the second half? Is it scheme? Is it just you guys execution-wise? Because it's been since the Kansas City game since you scored in the second half a touchdown.
Yeah, it comes down to the guys on the field and making the right plays. We were horrendous in the red zone, and that's, again, on my shoulders. So we gotta clean it up for sure.
Is this the worst you've felt since Kansas City lost in the playoffs?
Yeah, this one sucks.
Guys are now in third place in the division. What do you have to do to regroup and work your way back to a better effort next week?
Just one game at a time. Have a good week of practice, turn this one, and not let this one become 2 games.
You guys talk to each other about the way that Minnesota has, this is their 5th win in the last 2-3 minutes of the game this year. They don't go away. Did you guys talk about that?
Not necessarily. Again, we do our job on offense. I do my job. It's a different game, different story right now, so it is what it is.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, this week's game sponsor is St. Bonaventure University. St. Bonaventure University is an official education partner of the Buffalo Bills. It's time to get into our Microsoft Surface Player Spotlight. It's presented by Microsoft Surface. Microsoft Surface is the official tablet and sideline technology of the Buffalo Bills, and our player spotlight today is going to go to Christian Benford. He had a couple big plays for the Buffalo Bills, had that interception, and had that pass breakup on 3rd and goal that kind of forced Justin Jefferson there out of bounds, so the Vikings had to try for it on 4th and goal, did not score that touchdown there. But Steve, tell us why he had a big hand in today's game for the defense.
Well, the secondary has been so beaten up. It's so thin. They've rotated around. They've benched guys. They've got problems back there because of the thin nature of their roster and the guys they've had to play out of necessity. Christian Benford's been kind of a guy they've been dependent on. He came up big today, and this 4th and 1 breakup was tremendous. Coming from the outside, going down in, sticking with Osborne and making a perfect play on the ball, and that got the Bills the football as on the offense. So great plays by the young cornerback. I know this secondary I think the secondary really is struggling a little bit. Now certainly Justin Jefferson makes a lot of teams look like they're struggling back there. The guy's a phenomenal player, and the Vikings use him to perfection, a lot like the Bills and Stefon Diggs. So they were up to their neck in problems in the secondary today because of the talent and the quality of guys they were going against, and it showed. I mean, there were some times when the Vikings converted 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 15. They had a ton of 3rd and longs that they just converted. They had a 2nd and 22 that they converted. Of course, they got help from pass interference in the secondary. So the secondary has struggled, but Christian Benford was a little bit of a bright spot, and certainly in the first half, he gave the Bills a chance to get 2 touchdowns, two-touchdown lead.
Justin Jefferson today was incredible for the Vikings. 10 catches for 193 yards and a touchdown, a career high for him, the most out of any player from a receiving yards end of things this season in the NFL. And you start to wonder, like you said, I started to write things down. Okay, what are the Buffalo Bills missing here that is allowing them to allow this many yards, and they're giving the ball back to the Vikings? 4 turnovers for them. They only took the ball away. 2 takeaways for the defense. You do not want to be minus in the turnover battle, in the turnover differential. That is how you lose games. You want to be plus in that category. That's one big thing in today's game. Another big thing is the red zone efficiency for this offense. They rank 19th 15th coming into this game, scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Only 53% of the time. They convert 50%. They score 50% in the red zone today. They were 3 of 6 in the first half. They were 3 of 4 in the red zone. A really good number. You're scoring 75% of the time when you enter in the red zone. Second half, 0 for 2 in the red zone. It has really become the second half woes for this team on offense. 3 straight games, they have not scored a touchdown in the second half. Josh Allen does not look as scary in the second half anymore. Why is this happening, Steve? What has happened on offense that has allowed them to at times fall asleep in the third and the fourth quarter? Because this offense can be so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it comes down to the execution. Most notably, teams are doing a really good job in the secondary. The Bills' offense is doing okay. Josh is breaking a cover and running extremely well. I think on the outside, teams are getting a handle on how they can take Stefon Diggs away and make Josh go to other guys on the roster. I think the Minnesota Vikings did a nice job of that today. Their defensive and offensive line in Minnesota are very good on both sides of the ball. And that was at times gave them an edge today as well. I don't think they dominated the line of scrimmage on either side, but they played extremely well. And the Bills certainly didn't dominate on either side of the ball. Certainly the Bills got a couple of nice, timely sacks. They forced the field goal in overtime at the end. They got the 4th down stop at the end of the game, which could have won the game.
I know.
There's got to be a lot of frustration because a game like this, as we all know, they come down to one play here, one play there, and and the plays that I mentioned, the Bills had this game won if they could have had just one more play that was on them, not on the Vikings. They just couldn't do it, and that's pretty frustrating, I think.
Is this the type of game where, and we always hear coaches and players say, this does not fall on one play, this does not fall on one person, because there are countless numbers of plays that lead you to that one play that ends up, what a lot of people say, losing or winning the game. Do you think this is truly a one-play game, though? Because they had that game won, and it was a fumble, and
it was
Vikings
a one-play game 3 or 4 times, right? So the Kirk Cousins stop on 4th and goal, and then this fumbled snap by Josh Allen and Mitch Morse, unbelievable. All you needed was a half a yard there, and they couldn't get it, and they lose the ball, fumble it. It's right there in the end zone, and sure enough, it ends up. A Minnesota Viking has it right there. Hendricks has got it. He's right on it. And they win the game or take the lead because of it. And the Bills, which is maddeningly frustrating, the Bills go plinkety-plink, get a field goal, tie the game. In 54 seconds, they get it done, which was amazing. They get some help on that. The Gabe Davis pass might have been incomplete. They called it complete. The Bills are in a hurry, so they get the play off. They couldn't review it. Probably should have been incomplete. Minnesota will tell you as well that the Bills were getting away with some defensive holding, especially on Justin Jeffries. I thought Dawson Knox had a pass interference in the end zone during overtime in the last play to the end zone. So you can say what you want about the officials. I don't think they tipped the scales in one way or the other. The Devin Singletary fumble, he was probably down, but they didn't have a good angle on it. They couldn't reverse it. So, yeah, you take any one of those plays and the ripple effects as it goes down, and the later it happens in the game, obviously, the less time there is to recover. But the ripple effect of all of those plays changes the course of the game, in my opinion, at least for a stretch of each quarter.
Yeah, a couple. You just had one play. If you would have done this, the game would have been over. Unfortunately, that's not how it fell for the Bills today. We have Stefon Diggs, who's at the podium now. He's answering some questions, so let's go right to Steph.
Yeah, I mean, could have played a lot better, but we did enough to take it in overtime. We had some clean football at the end. We just didn't do enough. I mean, I feel like we're doing a lot of good things. Can't take that away from the game, but there's some things we got to get fixed. So back to work tomorrow.
How is it so difficult, Steph, to find that balance with running pass? It seemed like I was doing that real well in the first half. Second half, up 17, you would figure that, you would try to run a little bit more, but that didn't happen. Like, how do you find that balance?
I mean, it's taking what they give you. I mean, I trust that they putting us in the best situation to win. So, like, as far as with the balance, we were moving the ball, especially in the second half. We did move the ball. We had success. So it's not like, as far as the imbalance wasn't working, what we were doing was working. So whatever they call, we just got to find a way to make it work. So, yeah.
Steph, can you pinpoint the issue, what's going on in the second half? Because that's really 3 games now.
What's going on?
Things have kind of slowed down for you guys.
We got to continue to play sharp. I mean, I feel like we coming out in the first half, mind sharp, you know, getting after it, and then we somewhat hit a little lull, and then kind of got to get back in the groove, it seemed like. And then it seemed like when we got to get in the groove, it's always crunch time. And we always manage to kind of like figure it out and make a way, but it'll save us if we don't take that lull, don't take that little gas of air. So, you know, Vaughn always say don't blink, and I feel like we might be blinking a little bit, especially when we come out trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? We've lost every toss. So the ability to come out there on offense and being able to play fast and, man, maybe even double dip, it's been lost a little bit. We got to work on our heads and tails a little bit, get a little bit of good luck. But we just got to continue to play. You know, I mean, this game has its ebbs and flows along with the seasons. I mean, we can't ride a roller coaster, so chin up.
Would you call a lull, is that sometimes taking the other team lightly?
No.
It's coming easy?
No, I mean, if you look at the score was still tight. When I think about a low, I feel like it's more so not being as sharp. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like me jumping off sides, like shit like that. Like, that's what I mean more so like a low, not so much about the other team because, like I said, every week, the other team's going to give you their best shot. You know what I'm saying? They always going to give us that. So I heavily anticipated, never a low, more so looking inward more than anything.
How jolting was it to feel like pretty much everybody in the stadium that this thing is going to end, and then the snap, and that happens, something just crazy like that happens at the end. A sense of how you were feeling about that, and maybe guys around you.
I mean, jolting, that's a new one for me. Never really heard that one as far as with the football, but I've been a part of some crazy games, as we all know. So I never really take it as anything, but football happens, so got to continue to play.
How do you kind of move forward and make sure you guys tighten things up in the weeks to come?
I feel like our preparation is there. We don't go in a week trying to switch up a whole lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? We do what works, and we got to continue to stay at it, stay consistent. You know, like I said, don't ride the roller coaster. That's what the league wants you to do. You know what I'm saying? That's how these games come up. You'll win some, you'll lose some. You win, you the best. You lose, you the worst. So stay consistent. I'm not going to change anything about my routine. Just keep going hard and try to increase my effort. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I should have put the game away. We had 4 minutes. I missed the third down. And I had a chance to end it then, and I jumped offside. So looking inward always, you know what I'm saying, I could play better. So
knowing the competitor you are, knowing the competitor Josh is, how do you kind of keep him more on an even keel so he's not pressing? Because now it's another loss. You know he thinks about that stuff.
Yeah.
He wants to lead. How do you kind of keep him here instead of pressing?
If I know Josh, I know he's extremely hard on himself. So I don't play the role of saying, I don't know. I never even talk about the negative stuff. I'm more of a positive guy anyways. But I got his back. No matter how that shit shakes out, our quarterback gives a lot of effort. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the game, you saw him lead us all the way down the field. So especially taking the positives from it, he's going to hate it for 24 hours, but I got his back. I'll take the good with the bad any day. My quarterback is a winner. We lost 2 games. You know what I'm saying? We're just trying to bounce back at this point. We playing a lot of good football, and it's things that we can get better at. That's all I can really attest to. We can be better, we will be better.
Hey, Steph, on that quick pass in OT, it seemed like you were a little frustrated when you had the blockers coming out in front of you. So what opportunity do you think was missed?
I feel like I should have been more patient and trusted him. I saw him coming, but I feel like we had enough blockers that it was more food on the bone is what I say. I'll try not to leave no meat on the bone. So I was more so frustrated with myself because, you know, when you get in those high-potential situations, you want it bad. I want it real bad. So I could have just been a little bit more patient, let the O-line be the O-line. You know, they do a great job. So that was a little bit of my frustration. Not necessarily nothing else.
Will it help sharpen your focus to know that you've let the Dolphins and Jets catch you in the division?
I mean, I can't say it'll be you know, the Dolphins and the Jets are right behind us. That's not the world we live in. You know what I'm saying? They're good teams. We're a good team. You know what I'm saying? More so farming your own land because you can't go do anything more or less for the Jets. We played them again in Miami. We played them again. That's down the line in the season, but sharpening your focus will come from just always looking inward. It's not really looking at anything everybody else doing, and everybody else doing their 1-11. If everybody doing their job, we can always come out with a mindset of, all right, we did what we could. I'm saying, can we be better? Yes. Will we be better? Yes. Thank you.
All right, that was Stefon Diggs after the loss to the Vikings, and Stefon Diggs had 12 catches for 128 yards. When you looked at the stats in the first half of the game, the Bills were doing a really good job of spreading the ball out, and that's something that you heard Ken Dorsey say after the loss to the Jets last week. Was when he was asked about what the offense can do, he said, my favorite part about this offense is when we're spreading the wealth and when we're getting a lot of guys involved. And you could say that Stefon Diggs has been Josh Allen's favorite target through this year, but with that, you've also seen some other players maybe not get as many targets, whether it's on them or Josh Allen or Ken Dorsey, I'm not sure. But in the first half of this game, you saw a stat sheet where Stefon Diggs was not the leading receiver, and they were doing a good job spreading the wealth. They got the run game going a little bit, which I think opened the passing offense as well. But then as you move on through the game in the third and the fourth quarter, Stefon Diggs ends up being the leading receiver with 120 receiving yards. Now, I know that's a little bit pressing the ball downfield because they needed to score in a lot of different scenarios, and Stefon Diggs was there. But what did you think of the way that the offense looked in the first half? It was very complimentary what they were doing.
I think you could see Josh want to, especially in the second half. I thought Josh became a little impatient. Particularly in overtime. Those two runs he snapped off, you could tell he was plowing through people because he was frustrated with the fumble that they had to not be able to close the game out in regulation. You could just feel his emotion. And I think at one point you just got to say, listen, we got, Ken Dorsey, somebody, maybe Steph Diggs, somebody, hey, take a deep breath, bro. You're going to be all right. Because that play at the end where he tried, the last interception at the end, he's got some guys running open. Dawson Knox has been widely, that guy's getting some separation, and Josh just feels like it almost feels too easy for him to do it. And that has caused him some problems, not taking those easy ones and extending drives that way. That'll come, I think. That'll come. But I think tonight, his impatience at the end of the game and his frustration with why they couldn't close out the game earlier, I think showed through a little bit in that overtime drive.
Yeah, it was Josh Allen's fourth red zone interception in the last 2 weeks, a number that you don't want to see. And leading into this season, Josh had been really good in the red zone in terms of not turning it over. He's done that a lot more this year, I think, than we've ever seen. Do you think that's a little bit of impatience, as you said, just trying to force the ball and not waiting for some plays to evolve?
Yeah, and I think he wants more than is there. And, there's no question that the defense are trying to keep a lid on it. And Josh, the offensive line, giving him enough time. Tonight, I thought they gave him enough time. But there were a couple of times he just passes up the easy completion. Even on that interception, you look at, and you can see Devin Singletary standing there. He, had room for a catch and a run. And certainly in the overtime drive, no reason to hurry because the clock you had plenty of time. So I think that kind of mindset, when you get in, particularly in overtime, really feeds into the sugar high Josh that we saw younger in his career, where he thinks, I'm going to win it on every play. And overtime kind of gives you that level of anxiety that, hey, this is really, do or die. When all you got to do is take a deep breath and take what's there and work your way down the field. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Is Josh seems like he's going back to a younger Josh when some of the decisions weren't that great, and he would turn the ball over and throw interceptions at a lot higher rate. We've seen a little bit of that this year. Is it simply just taking what the defense gives you, living play by play? Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. I think there are guys getting separation. I think. Guys like Dawson Knox in the last play that I mentioned, Devin Singletary, and he did that in the first half of this game. I mean, the ball was spread out a little bit. It was like, the offense is back after the 2-week lull coming off of the bye week.
And they scored great. And they scored 24 points in one half and had a 2-touchdown lead. So when you get in the second half and somehow things change a little bit and
it's there. It's there for them.
Yeah, it's there, and they've got to learn to take a deep breath and relax.
Did you notice a difference? Because against the Jets, one of the things that Stefon Diggs said is the Jets switched up how they played us on defense a lot in the second half. We were not expecting that, so it was hard to play off of that and go back to the sideline and make adjustments and go out there and find answers. Did you find that the Vikings started playing them differently in the second half versus the first half, or was it more of that zone coverage that's been tough for Josh Allen?
I thought they wanted to make sure that Josh, I think they went, a lot of teams go zone because then you have defenders looking at Josh. When he sees guys man-to-man and they all take off, and he finds a crease in the pass rush, he snapped off some big runs. He did that in overtime too. First 2 plays of overtime, he took off running, and it was 35, 40 yards later. Yeah, he's got a 1st and goal inside field goal range. So they start zoning it off so that the defenders are at least watching him. So when he does break contain, they'll go up and tackle him for a shorter gain. So yeah, there is that adjustment to be made, and certainly the Vikings aren't familiar with playing a guy like Josh, a running player like Josh, who can also throw it. So, and there was probably some early in the game. There were probably some concerns about how his elbow was going to do, which might have affected their confidence in his ability to throw it down the field. Nevertheless, this game, I mean, and it's this way for a lot of teams. Certainly Minnesota would feel this way if this game had gone against them. They feel like they left the game on the table, and I'm sure the Bills feel that way tonight.
Yeah, I mean, a tough loss against the Jets, an even tougher loss against the Vikings here. You look at a season and you wonder, when is going to be that turning point game? I think this team, based on the 2 interviews that we've seen from Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs, they are pissed off. They know they are so much better than they played today, especially in the second half of this game. If you look at the defense, I mean, there were a lot of yards that were allowed on the field today. 481 is what the Vikings put up. 147 rushing yards, 334 passing yards. And in the first half, again, tail 2 halves here. The first half, the Bills looked like they were doing a great job on defense of limiting the run game, which is something that going into this game everybody was talking about, because the Bills had allowed 191 rushing yards, an average of 191 in the previous 2 games against the Packers and the Jets, and it looked like they had fixed that, but in the second half, the Vikings really ran up that number in rushing yards. How do you think the defense did overall, first half to the second half?
Actually, I thought they played a lot better. In the first half, I thought they played really well. They looked a little more conventional in the way they got stops. I was really struggling in the first half with their inability to get the Vikings off the field on third and longs. They gave up like 3 third and 10 pluses. You can't do that. You've got to get them to punt the football. You've got to get off the field. And I think that's what's haunted this team. They had a 2nd and 22 late in the 4th quarter, and they let them off the hook. They let them convert it. It was those kind of things. They play good for a down or 2. They cannot they don't defend long yardage situations tightly enough. They get too loose when they're going to concede a little something to the offense. They concede too much. One of the things you do as a defense, when it's 3rd and very long, you'll invite the short pass, come up and make the play. In today's NFL, you can't really do that as often because 4-down territory is expanded from where it used to be. Now more teams are 4-down territory just outside their 45-yard line. So most of the field, you can't give up that 3rd and very long and give up a 4th and short, because they're going to go for it, and the odds are they're going to get it. That's what the Bills have been stuck doing. One of the 3rd and longs they didn't give up was converted on the next play on a 4th and 2. That's the crusher. And I think that one scenario, that one philosophical hole that they've got going, where they just don't play tight enough on a 3rd and long and dare them to make a really good play instead of making just an okay play into a really good play. The teams are good and they're desperate, and when they catch a short pass and got a guy that can really scoot, they're going to get close to getting the first down if you're not playing tight defense.
I think one thing you got to give kudos to is the Bills' defense in the red zone. They were exceptional today. They did a great job holding the Vikings out of scoring in the red zone. 1 for 4. They scored 25% of the time in the red zone. This defense has been a top 10 red zone defense coming into this week, all season pretty much, and they continue to do that this week with the defense who was without players, who was without Greg Rousseau. Tremaine Edmonds came out during the game. They were without Jordan Poyer, and DeMar Hamlin had some great plays. Christian Benford had some great plays. The younger guys showed up in the red zone, which is what you need. You need a defense that is tough and can stand firm and strong in the red zone. All right, Sean McDermott at the podium. We'll send it over to him.
All right, time's yours.
Sean, red zone turnovers again with Josh. How frustrating was it for you? Is it your own voice saying
Yeah, I mean, we got to do a better job there. We had opportunities to win the game, and we got to do a better job taking care of the football. I know I keep saying that. We talk about it every week, and it makes it awfully hard to win a football game when you turn the ball over 4 times.
Well, I said you basically lost your edge. That's what's been happening late in games. How discouraging is that to hear that you know that your team has been losing its edge?
No, I believe in this team. I believe in the team. They made more plays than we did down the stretch. Obviously, we turned the ball over. Got a team in 4th and 19, and they made the play. We got to get the ball knocked down there. So opportunities to win the game, and at the end of the day, we didn't get it done. So.
Do you agree that they lost their edge?
No.
All right, second half overall performance, output, production have been an issue really, the last 3 games. Can you pinpoint maybe, is there something that's going on there, that's kind of a trend?
Yeah, no, I think it's worth a deeper dive again this week, and we look at it and study it, and, we haven't scored touchdowns in the second half. So we've got to go back and look at what's been different in the second half and what's been different compared to the first half.
Talking to Cam Lewis in the locker room, he really down on himself because of that catch that Jefferson makes there on 4th and long. You talk to a guy like that, making sure that he is mentally stable with it.
Yeah, this is Cam's first start at safety, and I believe in Cam, and he made some good plays out there as well throughout the course of the game. So I believe in him.
Coach, with Josh being the competitor that he is, how do you strike a balance with him in terms of keeping him from pressing to make a play while also being the competitor that he is that makes so many plays for you that he does?
Yeah, it is a balance. I mean, he makes plays. He makes spectacular plays. He's a special player. And I believe in him as well. And we just got to do a better job of taking care of the football and taking what the defense gives us at times. And that's an adjustment we have to continue to make.
John, this locker room talks about the 24-hour rule after a win or a loss. Is it harder to do that when there's a game that involves so many emotional swings up and down?
I mean, that's the course of the season. These games are close games, and again, we had opportunities to win. That's what makes it sting. We were right there, and again, we got sloppy with the football. So we gotta. This is the journey of the season. So you got to pull yourself back together, find out the reasons why, make the adjustments, and move forward.
Sean, I guess kind of going off of that, you guys have faced adversity this season, past season. What's your message to the team right now during this time?
Yeah, I mean, number one is belief. I believe in them, and I believe in our coaching staff. We're 6-3, so we've done some good things, but we've also gotten sloppy at times, and sometimes before you win, you got to prevent yourself from losing. And I know it's a negative kind of connotation, but that's really where it starts, number one, and that usually involves the football.
Near the end of the fourth quarter, Josh's interception on 4th down. You had a 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, and 4th and 2. You went with 3 straight passing plays. Was there any thought to go to the run then?
Yeah, we had a couple of those. We had a couple of 2nd and shorts that we'd like back.
Sean, you touched on not being too one-dimensional last week, and this is the second straight game where the running attack really wasn't a huge part of the second half. So what is the reason for that, and what are we looking forward?
Joe, it's something we can look at. I thought we did a pretty good job at times with that in the first half, and then the second half got a little bit out of whack there. And we had some 2nd and shorts, to his point, that especially against a good short yardage defense and one short yardage defense, you've got to pick up the first down there.
What would you say, Coach, would attribute to that? Because you're up 17, and 9 times out of 10 will cause you to run the ball in those instances. So is it to say, is it lack of execution, or is it the play design that's why you can't close out ball games when you have comfortable leads?
Well, I just think some of it's the nature of how the NFL is. I think we've pulled away at times, and then lately we've struggled a little bit. So it's something we'll look at.
When and how was the decision to start Josh today? When was that made, and how did you come to that decision?
We've really just followed the doctor's plan all week. That's really what we did, and then we went from there.
Pretty clear your message is belief. You said that a number of times. So you were all concerned, part of your concern that your team not lose is belief in itself.
And that's part of it. That's where you got to hold your confidence throughout the course of the season. This league tests you in a lot of ways. Jerry, you've been around it, and the season tests you. So you double down on that, and you go back, make the adjustments you have to make, and that starts with being truthful, which we've been, and you move forward.
To your knowledge, was Josh impacted at all by his elbow injury? And do you know how he came out of the game physically? Have you talked with him or the training staff about that since the game?
Yeah, during the game, he was not impacted. And then after the game, I saw him briefly on my way here, checked in with him, and then, but he seems fine to this point. So officially, I haven't checked with the trainer yet.
Sean, what do you say to Josh? Because so many of your wins have been because of Josh. What do you think of his arm, with his leg? We have games where it's a fumble, where it's an interception. And he's sitting there, and he just looks completely blank because he feels like he's lost it for the team. What do you say to your quarterback?
That I believe in him. I believe in him. That's really where it starts. So he's a special person, special player. He's a leader of our football team. Better days ahead, and again, this is life in the NFL, unfortunately, and it's going to be a hard one to go to bed tonight with. But that's why they put us in these positions, right?
Last one, Coach. How much does it pain you that you can't get 1 yard when you need to get 1 yard?
You got to win the line of scrimmage. So I mean, we'll look at it all, and there's a lot of things that we can do better. Thanks, guys.
All right, Sean McDermott believes in his quarterback. He knows he's going to rebound from the last couple of games, especially this game, that turnover in the red zone, that interception that he threw in the red zone. I think that's good medicine and a good something that we should all take into next week. We know how incredible of a player Josh Allen is. No, he did not play like that in some situations and scenarios in tonight's game and last week's game against the Jets. But this is a guy who works really hard. I'm sure he did everything he could to come back from that elbow injury and play in this game today. So it's something that they're going to work very hard on to correct this week as they prepare for the Browns, and something that we should all remember here.
Yeah, it's a positive note. Josh held up through the game, was not re-injured. His arm looked fine, and he'll probably get a day off, maybe 2 days off, maybe the whole week off like he did this last week. His arm will do nothing but get better. And, you know, this is a game they've got to learn a lot from. And it's a game that's got to be particularly frustrating to lose in overtime when you had two plays that were game winners that you couldn't execute.
This is a game where you go back and watch tape and you cringe at some of the tape that you're watching, but hopefully coming out of it, it makes you better because you have been in those situations and you know how to win in them, hopefully the second time around. Last player for us that we're going to hear from before we close things up is Von Miller, so here he is.
First off, we lost to a good team. They're a good team. We're 6-3. I've been here before. It's definitely not, any panic from me. If anything, I like the position that we're in. You want to be tested, going into, December and the later months and, the beginning of the playoffs. My perspective is a little bit different. I'm 12 years in, and I've been here before. I was just here last year. It's definitely not any panic for me. If anything, my perspective is I had fun today. Today was a crazy game. This is one of the games where I talked to my son about when, he researched and said, "Dad, how y'all lose that one?" I'm gonna have to, sit him down and talk to him about hey, we stopped them on goal line and we fumbled it and we went to it's definitely not, any panic for me. First and foremost, me as a pass rusher, Brian O'Neill, got a lot of respect for the guy. He's one of the best tackles in the league, if not the best tackle in the league. I always enjoy going against the best. A little concerned for Darisaw. I hope he's all right. Dalvin Cook, like I said before, earlier in the week, he's a walking home run, and he hit a home run on us today. Up until that point, we were good. We were good, and I still feel like we were good, after that. And, I just take a step back, and, it's not about me or anything like that, but I feel proud of myself, you know, leading the guys, especially at the end of the game. Whenever they scored that touchdown, it was like a fumble. They scored the touchdown and stuff. I was like, hey, this game is not over. Like, I mean, everybody was down. And I was like, hey, like, this game is not over. And it wasn't. You know, we were able to go to overtime. You know, they were able to kick a field goal. Offense goes out there, and you know, we just didn't win. So, but first and foremost, like, all respect to the Minnesota Vikings. You know, the head coach is a great guy. I was with him, you know, in L.A. Shout out to, you know, Brian O'Neill and Darisaw and Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins. Like, I'm interested to see what his celebration of being on the plane look like on the way back. I'm sure it'd be crazy. But, you know, for me, my perspective is a little bit different, man. And, you know, I had fun today. These are one of the games that you'll always remember. Yeah, we lost, and it's always tough handling the loss, but I'm not going to let a team beat me twice. You know, I'm not going to let a team, you know, beat me in the game and then go into the week and I'm still letting the loss, like, drag me down. So, you know, we lost. I'm a professional football player, and it happens, you know. I think the standard is so high, we expect to win every single game, and that's how it should be. We got great talent. We got the best quarterback in the National Football League. Got a great defense. You know, they ran the ball on us a little bit, but hey, it's all good. I still feel like this is good medicine. You know, I still feel like this is adversity that we got to push through, and I'm excited to see how we respond. I'm so excited to see how we respond. We got a locker room full of great character guys, and you know, adversity reveals character. And you know, we had a ball on the run today up until he broke that big run, and you know, still got to figure it out. I still feel comfortable where we at. We got a great running back in Nick Chubb, you know, coming to Buffalo this week. He's the best running back in the league. If not the best, he's number 2. And if he's not number 2, he rotates each and every week. So I'm excited, man. You know, you're not gonna catch me in a press conference like down with my lip poked out. It's just not me. Like, I'm blessed, and it's an honor and a privilege to, you know, come in here with these guys each and every week. You know, I had fun today. We had them at halftime. They came back. Like, we were able to fight back, go to overtime. Like, hey, it's just we're on the other side of it today. And I've been on the other side of this game 50 million times. Like, I've been on the other side where we make a play and all of a sudden we get a pick at the end of the game. And that was Patrick Peterson that got that pick. You know, he's my draft class too, 12 years in. You know, still balling. He had 2 picks today, so it's just it's all good, man. And I'm not gonna let a team beat me twice. You know, shout out to Kirk Cousins. Brian O'Neill, I love the guy. He's one of the best offensive tackles in the league. Darisaw, they did a good job today. They fought back. They came through the adversity. They fought through the adversity at halftime. I think we were up by 14. They were able to fight back. Broke a long run by Dalvin Cook, and you know, they won the game. So they deserve it. And I'm excited to come back in here on Wednesday and, you know, be the same fun that I've always been, and motivate these guys to respond in the right way. And you know, we got a really tough Cleveland Browns team coming up this week, and I'm excited to play them again here at Hallmark Stadium.
Do you feel that teams are starting to use what y'all do best against y'all at times? Because you up 17 this week, I think you were up 14 the 3 last week. Do you feel that sometimes you guys are in your own way, get complacent at times, and teams fight back, and now you're in a dogfight? Nah,
this is football, you know. This is football, man. Like, I enjoy being a Buffalo Bill. I enjoy being here. Like, this is where I want to be. Like, if I can step back and you got all of these teams and we're racing to go to the Super Bowl, like, this is where I want to be. And you know, hopefully we can, you know, you can check back to the same press conference, you know, and at the end of February, and I'll be here and I'll tell you, like, hey, like, you know, I told you this is where I wanted to be. Like, you know, it's all good. Like, games like this build character. You know, adversity builds character. And all of these guys are high character guys in there. There is no blueprint to beating us. Like, they just came out there and they played great football, and they won the game. It was good.
Steph came in here and quoted you and said you always tell the team, don't blink.
Yeah.
He thinks the team is blinking. Do you think the team is blinking?
No, we ain't blink. We just lost. And, You know, if you're a heavyweight prize fighter and you fighting and you swinging like how we do and you play as hard as we do, like, you're going to get hit a couple of times. It's just it. That's just how it is, like, you know.
How are you able to counter-adjust to what teams adjust to you guys at halftime?
I think it starts with, you know, our coaches. I could have went anywhere, like, and I saw this coaching staff, and I just had so much belief. I have so much belief in this coaching staff, Coach McDermott, Coach Washington, Coach Frazier, you know, all of these guys, man, Ken Dorsey, like, you know, all of these guys, man. I got so much belief in these guys. All of these guys are great coaches, and you know, you're not going to go out there and win every one. Like, that's just how it is. And I hate to keep going back to, you know, L.A. and referencing that team, but when I first got there, we lost 3 straight, 71. We were 71 before I got there, and we lost 3 straight on the outside world. It was, you know, falling down. Like, they just got Odell and Vaughn. Why they not winning? What's wrong with Matthew Stafford's elbow? This and that. Like, they got us figured out. The same stuff that's happening here, you know. And you know, we were able to string some wins together. You know, lost the last game of the season. Should have been the #1 seed, but we ended up being the #3 seed, and I felt like that was good for us. You know, and you know, we played the Arizona Cardinals. Good game. We go to Tampa Bay, play a good game there, come back and play a tough 49ers game, and then boom, we're in the Super Bowl. So, you know, all I can do is just go off my past experience, and I feel like that's what makes me me. I feel like that's why, you know, a team appreciates me here, is because I can always refer to my past experiences and like, hey, we're in a good spot.
Is that past experience enough to offset some of the disappointment that we've seen here in Buffalo, coming so close, even Super Bowl years ago to even last year? Is that enough?
I wasn't here. I don't know. All I can do is be the same fun that I've always been. Like, you know, I'm not familiar with the disappointment, and I just got such a. I think it starts with me. I just got such a firm belief in me and what I'm able to do on the football field, and a firm belief in the type of leader I am and how I can motivate guys, and you know, how I can get them to see, you know, the right perspective on how we should go week in and week out. Like, we got a great team. We just lost. And I pray and I hope that guys think they got us figured out, because, you know, that's a bad place to be at, because we got a great team. Like, we got a great team, man. We battling through some injuries and right now, and I'm not gonna make excuses for anything like that. Hats off to, you know, Minnesota, you know, the Vikings. They came in and beat us, but this is good medicine, man. And I'm excited to, you know, come into the facility on Wednesday and be the same fun that I've always been, and you know, be a light in the locker room, be a light to my teammates, and getting to see the brighter side, man. We're in a good spot. We're 6-3. Like, we got a long season to go. I know I get up here and I say this every week, but, you know, it's the truth. You know, one win can destroy a team, and one loss can destroy a team, and you know, that's just not us. And I promise you that's not going to be us. And
there's a 3-way tie in the division now. You said it could be good to be tested. You think that could be a good thing?
You know, what is this, week 10, week 9? Week 9? This week 10? Oh, we got 7 games left? Hey, we're not finishing right now. We got 7 games. We still got Josh Allen and, you know, his great defense, and we still got Bills Mafia behind us. Like, I pray and I hope that guys think it's over right now. I pray and I hope that guys feel like it's done and they got us figured out, because they'd be up for a rude awakening. And I pray and I hope that the media like counts us out and do all that stuff, because good, you know, because we got a great team, and you know, I'm excited to go to work with these guys. I'm excited for Josh Allen, and I'm excited for him to respond. I'm excited for myself to respond. I'm excited for this defense to respond. And hey, brighter days are ahead for us, man. We lost 3 games, and it's all good, man. I'm excited to see what we do coming up.
Okay.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, all right, brighter days ahead for the Buffalo Bills is what Von Miller is saying. That seasoned vet isn't going to let one loss get to him too much, because he knows that a lot of season is still ahead for the Buffalo Bills. Next up is another home game against the Browns, a 1 o'clock kick, and then they have their Thanksgiving game against the Detroit Lions, and it won't be until Week 13 that they see an AFC East team. So when you go back to the drawing board, when you check out this film, when you're preparing for the Browns, what's number 1 at the top of your list?
Well, it's pretty simple. You got to, first of all, continue to see if you can get healthy. I think you need your best players on the field. Other than that, it's not turn the football over. That was a difference in this game. Certainly, you could have made a case that Devin Singletary's fumble in the first half wasn't a fumble, but I mean, you can't, if you don't have the right camera angle, you can't tell that, and it stood up, and it was a turnover. It didn't lead to any points for the Vikings because the Bills got a fumble back or an interception back, or it didn't lead. Oh, they got the stop on fourth down, I believe. So it didn't lead to points, but that's the ripple effects of that, and the interceptions, particularly in the red zone, are crushers. So you turn it over 4 times. Yeah, that's a crusher. That's first and foremost. And then, just do what you do better. You don't have to transform your roster. You don't have to transform your philosophies. You don't have to do something completely different than what you have been doing. Just do what you do better. Continue to trust your process, and hopefully your health and cutting down on your own mistakes will take you to a victory.
Like my dad would say, keep it simple, stupid.
There you
Kiss.
go.
Always keep it simple. We'll see if the Buffalo Bills go back to keeping it simple on offense as they prepare for the Browns this week. We're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for tuning in to Bills Postgame Live for Steve Tasker. I'm Maddie Glab. Make sure you check out our 11:30 version of this show. A little bit more analysis, some highlights. One Bills Live, 12 to 3 tomorrow. Don't miss out. We will see you guys next week. Enjoy your night.